Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. It's called Stop the Internet Podcast. I'm Kelee.
I'm Erin.
We're back.
She's back.
It's summer.
Not really.
Well, almost. We're filming this a week and a half before Memorial Day weekend. So I was kind of in the mood to talk about summer things, traveling, trips. I think by the time it comes out, it'll be summer.
Oh. But will it be officially summer or just like the unofficial summer?
I don't know, but I'm starting summer on Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. Happy summer, everyone.
Happy summer.
It was almost like my whole life was measured in summers.
Oh my God. Can we talk
like
about
winter didn't even matter?
Before we get into the stories, we're talking about traveling and group trips and traveling with friends today, but
everything good, everything magical happens between the months of June and August.
Can we rant about that show? The Summer I Turned Pretty is coming back.
Before we rant about the show, let's talk about growing up reading the books.
Okay.
This was important. Like the show coming out, not necessarily a big deal to two gals at 28 years old. However, a big deal to gals that grew up in that era reading that book with like each other and our closest cousins and girls that were basically our sisters and like thriving on that book and talking about how it's going to end and who she picks. And like, it was just a crucial time in our lives. So when the show came out, it was just like the nostalgia of it all. It had to be watched.
I feel like it's for anyone. Like the show is definitely not for kids. I do remember when my friend told me to read it for the first time. It was like freshman year of high school, I think. And I was obsessed. My summer surfer, that was when Soul Surfer came out when I was a freshman in high school. And I saw that and just became obsessed with like the ocean. Well, everyone was obsessed with the beach, but
it's important. It's important, that era of our lives.
I did try to go back and reread some of the books, and it is so funny how much they are meant for kids.
Maybe I'll reread it in like a day or like at night. If I can't fall asleep one night, I'll just read the whole book in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's so easy to read because it's actually written for children and the words are like so spaced out. You read it so fast. It probably does read like you watch a movie.
Yeah.
I just remember like in it, the dialogue is like, what the crap, Conrad? And now it's like the show is fully it's not for adults.
No,
but
it's not for adults.
I feel like it's for young adults. Actually, yeah, I do feel like it's for young adults.
I guess.
I mean,
like
I guess you could market.
teens.
I don't think it's marketed to preteens though. Like they portray so much teen drinking. That's like one thing.
True.
Okay, a few of my beefs with the show is one, I loved the books and it's so loosely based on the books that it almost annoys me.
There's a lot like just strewn together.
Yes. And Belly's so back and forth in the show to the point where I think it's completely unrealistic and it makes the audience hate Belly.
Just everything about the show should have been done by fans of the book.
Yeah, it's honestly, the show is awful, but while I say that, I also admit that I've watched it so many times. Like every single episode, I have seen it. I can't stop watching it. There's something about it that I love, while I also hate it because so many things are terrible.
I think I hate it because like the acting's not great. I don't know how I feel about.
Not great is a compliment.
I don't know how I feel about the casting of it all. You know, the writing, not all there, but I care about the story. It has become background noise in our beach house if we're all just like hanging out. It is on the TV. We don't need to talk about it too far for those who are not.
No, let's talk about it.
The Summer I Turned Pretty fans.
Let's talk about it.
Because I don't want to sit here and just crap on the show for 20 minutes.
I think we should. I think people probably agree with us. Also, I'm not the only one that doesn't love Belly. All the comments that I see on every video or post about the series, all the comments are like, Belly is the worst character. You guys did her dirty. She's written so horribly.
Yeah.
She's such a baby. And also, guys have said that. Our cousin's now husband, we were watching it a year or two ago. Did it come out 2 years ago? Yeah, would be like the third summer.
They skipped to the third summer to come out this. So it's 3 years ago it came out. They skipped last summer, and this is now the fourth summer of it.
Did they want them to grow up?
I don't know. All I know is that everyone knows our loose obsession with The Summer I Turned Pretty. And people will be like, oh, you should watch this movie or that show. It's by the same author and the same writers. And I'm like, you're joking. You think I actually want to watch something by the same people? Well, not the same author, because the
author's great.
The books, I stand by that era, but I'm not in that era right now, so I don't need more storylines like this. But if I'm going to watch another movie or show, it's not going to be the people that produced The Summer I Turned Pretty. I can tell you that much.
I think it's the writers and producers because it's, well, I was going to say producers, but it's filmed so beautifully and the music is great. I feel like that's why I like it, because the cinematography is amazing and the music choices, that they had no budget. They have the best music in the show.
So where did the money go with casting?
I don't know. Like I can see the lead girl as Belly. I like her. It's weird because like all of them, not all of them, most of them individually, I can say like there's a few things that you have going for you, but all of them together, it's like, but I don't want to hate on the cast too much, like
because they're written into these characters, right?
But it's just shocking how Taylor has become the best character by far. Like Taylor had such a hero arc, especially in the books. She was the party girl. We hated her. She was such a bad friend. I forget if Taylor came around in the books. I forget if she was written into the third book and like came back to be a good friend to Belly, but she was not a good friend. And now she is by far the best character. She's the only one with a good head on her shoulders at this point. So I'll give them cinematography. I don't know if I'll give them character building. We'll see how they do in the third season. But Jenny Han, she also did To All the Boys I've Loved Before. And I don't know if you like that series or...
I have not. I can't get into it.
It's movies. It's 3 movies. They were on Netflix, so different production, probably different writers, but obviously same author of the books. I loved those movies. That's were what people so say. Good. The first one especially is such a comfort movie. It's so well done. Like obviously it's very like blatant, like you see where it's going the entire time, but it's so good. I love the casting for it. It's the lead girl is so good. Like I just believe her. She's perfect for it. There was a few things I might change with The Summer I Turned Pretty, but you know what? I'm allowed to critique it as a fan.
This is not against the author. This is not a Jenny Han roast.
Yeah, we're Jenny Han
She
fans.
is our queen. Yes.
Yeah. She should write.
I just wish the show would have done better.
Yeah, she should write an adult version of The Summer I Turned Pretty, like something.
We should write to her. Let's write to her.
Oh, she's probably working on it. I don't know. Or she's working on spending or changing all of her books into shows and movies. I don't know. Anyway, I'm still excited for it, and we will be watching it.
We will be watching it the weekend it comes out at our beach house with all of our girlies. And
when does it come out? July?
Guys, I think in July.
Okay.
We will shove everyone into our living room.
And we'll do a review because I can't stop talking about it once I talk about it.
All right, on to the next.
Okay, should we talk about our main topic?
Yes.
Okay.
Hit me with it.
So we're talking about group trips and traveling with friends, and I feel like there's always so much drama that comes with all of this, and a lot of the same things go into like bachelorette trips as go into normal friend trips. And we did a girls trip last summer. We went to France with 2 other friends, Rebecca being one of them, and it was so much fun. But I do feel like we learned a lot about traveling with friends too, and like expectations and stuff. So we are speaking from experience, and there's so many different things that go into it. Should we just start with a very popular, a very important opinion about traveling with a group of people? Group trips, sleeping arrangements.
This is like, I haven't watched it in recent years, but the show Summer House, I watched it the very beginning when it was like more of a Vanderpump crossover. The people have kind of tapered off for me. I just don't really know them anymore. But I remember like random seasons. It was like, oh, the couple always gets the master bedroom. Why?
Is the couple paying more money?
Why does the couple get the master bedroom? And I feel like that it's been that way on trips that we've gone on too.
Of course.
I mean, it's all the time. Right.
It's always like that. We've definitely gone on trips too. I mean, I can read like a little bit of the story, but we've gone on trips too where we have said before going in, like if any couples choose to come or if any of the friends choose to bring a boyfriend or girlfriend, I'm telling you right now, you're not automatically getting the best room just because you're in a relationship. And we have said this and maintained this opinion when we were both single, when one of us was in a relationship and one of us wasn't, and when we are both in relationships now.
We've hit it every,
And I'm in a relationship now. If I went on a group trip with my partner, of course I would prefer to have my own room with just my partner, or even my own room with just a best friend or something. But I am not expecting, and I don't deserve the room just because I'm bringing my boyfriend or my husband or whatever. This person says, my friends and I are planning a group trip to the beach. It'll be a 5-day trip and there's 10 of us. 6 of us are in relationships or married and the rest are single. we're planning to stay in an Airbnb and I wanted to know your opinions when it came to sleeping arrangements. If we're all splitting the Airbnb evenly, is it fair that singles end up in bunk beds? We are all in our 20s and grown enough to not have to climb up to sleep.
No, it's not fair, period.
No, split it differently.
Yeah.
I would say, and especially if you are in a relationship, you're probably the one that should be saying this, or someone that's in a relationship who's maybe like a good leader or a good communicator should present to the group and say, hey guys, obviously we have 6 of us in couples, 4 of us being singles. How do we want to split the cost of the room? There's obviously better rooms. Is anyone willing to spend more, or is anyone interested in spending more to get a private room with a king bed? And then coming from the person in a relationship, they should be saying, I don't think it's fair if the singles pay the exact same as the couples to be sleeping on bunk beds. And and the people in relationships need to be there for their single friends and say it first, because it's going to be taken way better than if the single person says it.
Yeah, it's just not going to be taken as seriously. Period. 100%.
So you got to be there for your friend and say it first. And maybe even present like, hey, if it's $1,000 total, let's not just split it 10 ways and everybody pays $100. Let's split it like these 3 rooms are bigger, so these are worth $150 each.
Right.
And these rooms are smaller, so these are worth whatever the math is, and split it that way.
And then you can also just, I would say, let's feel everyone out too, because there are some people that like, I would almost rather sleep in a single small bed than have to share a bed with someone else, especially if it's like a loose friend or something. So like, do I want to climb on top of a bunk bed? No. And do I think that that's probably not as nice of a room? Probably not. But like, maybe let's have the conversation. Someone might say like, I'd rather just have a solo sleeping like in my own bed than have to share. Just you need to have the open conversation, but you cannot expect the singles to take the crappy end of the stick. One thing that I can't stand, I feel like I've heard this from a number, not necessarily, our friends aren't really like this, but I've heard this from a number of stories, shows, whatever. People will be like, oh, well, it makes sense that the couples share the bigger beds versus being in solo beds. I mean, if you live together and you sleep together every single night of your lives and we're going on a 2-night trip and you can't afford to sleep like in 2 separate beds in like a room with 2 twin beds or whatever, because you don't want to pay more to get the master room, so you just assume the singles should get that room, when like maybe they want the nicer room with the better view. Like, don't demand, oh, well, it's a double. No, don't expect anything. Like, you need to be willing to maybe like go a little bit out of your comfort zone and like sleep in your own bed or on a bunk bed, like away from your loved one for 1 night of your entire year, because you got to be fair to everyone going on this trip.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you can set this expectation prior to going on a trip. So I don't know who booked this Airbnb for 10 people, 3 couples and 4 singles, and happened to pick a house that has maybe 3 beds and 2 pairs of bunk beds. But if everyone doesn't agree on that prior, that's on the person that booked it. And they should be the one in the room sleeping in the bunk bed regardless.
Right. Maybe you got to look for a different house that can accommodate everyone better. Because you said yourself, oh, well, we're all in our 20s. No one should be climbing on bunk beds. Then, maybe don't book a house with bunk beds.
Why did you pick this house? Or why did your friend pick the house?
And I don't think that this person is necessarily in the bad, because they're asking.
No, yeah, they're just asking.
They're saying, I'm in a relationship and I don't think that the singles should be. You're right. But maybe reevaluate. If this conversation doesn't go a way where everyone can agree walking out of it, then you need to reevaluate the house, period.
Yeah. And I also do think that even if there are, exactly what you were saying earlier, I totally agree that even if there are couples that are offered these like higher cost, better room, the singles should have the same option. And if they choose to, like, I don't know, I guess an issue would arise when the couples and the singles are all like, we're going to pay more for the better room. Well, then you probably have to get a new house then, because
get a nicer house.
Like everyone should be able to get a room that
they want.
And maybe the single people are okay with sleeping on the bunk beds. As a friend, I would hope that I would still offer them to pay less.
Yeah.
But maybe your friends will be like, hey, I don't care. Split it evenly, make it easy, and I'll sleep on the bunk. That would be fine too.
But you have to have the conversation, and you have to be willing to hear every single side of it.
Present it to them, communicate.
Absolutely. That felt easy. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's easy until people are selfish, and it just seems like so many people just assume like, oh, well, they're a couple, so they'll sleep there. Why? Like, they're best friends, so they can just as easily share that room.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, I feel like people just have to be open-minded, and a lot of times with traveling, people are not. But I mean, you have to hope that you can talk to your friends. Like we stayed in a hotel in France, 4 of us, and it was a weird kind of hotel layout, but there was very different bed situations in the room we were in. And literally we walked in day 1 and we were like, we'll just rotate each night so that everyone gets to sleep. I think we were there 4 nights and there was 4 of us.
Well, the first night we were in, the first 2 nights we were in that weird one where there was like a pull-out couch that had a full, like a queen size
I'm
mattress.
talking about a specific room.
Oh,
I'm just talking about a specific room in Nice. It was like a bunk bed situation with like a futon, a solo bed and a queen bed. And we were going to be there for 4 nights. And we were like, what if we just rotate every night so that everyone gets their back to sleep in a different bed, whatever. And then after the first night, everyone was just so content with where they slept.
Like,
someone was like, do you want to rotate? And everyone was like, eh. And then we just stayed and it was fine. But I think if any one of us had said, can we rotate? We would have done it.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
You just have to do it. You have to be open to wiggling around when you travel with friends.
And we did rotate. The first hotel that we stayed in, we were there for 2 nights, and it was the pull-out couch with a queen-size bed and a bedroom with a queen-size bed. The first night, my friend and I slept on the pull-out couch, and Erin and Rebecca slept on the bedroom. And we were like, well, if these are comfortable for everyone, we'll just stay. It happened to not be comfortable whatsoever, and our backs were hurting.
Me and Rebecca slept on the pull-out couch the first night. We did the first night. It was so horrible.
Are you sure? I don't think you did, because I had my clothing hanging everywhere because my suitcase got drenched, so I had all my clothes like hanging over the bed.
I do remember. I remember.
Regardless,
not comfortable.
It doesn't matter. But whoever was there first was like, this is not comfortable. Can we switch? And we did.
We had to switch that.
Yeah. Be a good friend. Like, look out for your friend. Try to not be selfish unless you have like outstanding issues where you're like, it will ruin my trip if I hurt my back tonight. And you didn't know that going into the trip that the bed was going to be that uncomfortable. Like, maybe your friends will be there for you. But if you all have that problem, then you got to rotate.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good example on this. How I was saying, like, I've heard it from stories from friends and also like shows and stuff. On Below Deck, there was a charter group and one of the girls was like, okay, a couple girls will be in this room, a couple girls will be in this room, whatever. One of the girls, it was like the main girl's cousin, refused to share a room. She was like, I will not share a room. I need a solo room. And they were like, we don't have solo rooms. Like, that's not something we have on this boat. And she was like, well, I'm demanding a solo room. So she literally slept in a room by herself and made one of the other girls sleep in the living room on the boat. And then eventually the captain was like, this is absurd, and gave up his room and he slept on the couch. But like, because you gotta like cater
were these
to the guests.
employees?
No, these were guests.
Oh, they were guests. Okay.
But the girl was literally like, I will not share a room, and expected another girl to sleep on the couch to accommodate her.
Was she paying for the trip?
No.
Okay. Selfish.
Isn't that
selfish?
Insane?
I was going to say, if you're covering everybody's trip, go
different.
for it. Make
Totally
me sleep on the
different.
couch. I'll sleep on the couch for free. But if I'm paying for it, absolutely not.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. There really is crazy people out there. Okay. This I feel like could be controversial. Maybe not, but I have personal experience with this one, so I want to talk about a few different sides of it. Are we wrong for not inviting our friend on a trip? My friend and I planned a trip for Europe for 10 days at the end of April. We didn't invite our other friend, let's call her Jane, and we haven't told her yet. We plan to tell her tomorrow. There are multiple reasons why we didn't invite Jane. First, Jane has expressed a plethora of times that she doesn't want to go anywhere for longer than 3 days, 4 days max. Our last trip the 3 of us took together, I tried to make 4 days and she refused, so we went cross country for only 3 days. Other reasons we didn't invite her was because of our itinerary. She doesn't drink due to religious reasons, and we don't drink around her. We want to do some level of drinking every day of our trip. Champagne on top of the Eiffel Tower, winery tours, etc. Other things we are going to do are just conflicts with her interests. We didn't mention it to her because we didn't want to have to compromise and not do all the things we really want to do if she said yes. I don't think it is that wrong. As we are allowed to do things for us, it should be okay. I'm just going to end there because I feel like those are all of the important details.
It sucks to leave out a friend no matter what.
I know.
I really am a firm believer in that because but she said the point herself, like, no matter what, you don't want to give on this trip that you planned. And even if you had it laid out the way you do to a T, already booked, and you presented to her and said, this is what we are doing, you can come, but we are not wiggling, there still would have been some sort of, I'm gonna come, and can we also do this? You know what I mean?
I know.
There is always going to be that, but I think you do have to be, like, openly say this to her. Like, you have to tell her all the reasons you didn't invite her, because you don't want her to think like, oh, I wasn't included. No one should ever feel like they weren't included, but you can say, like, we want to drink. we cannot drink around you. That this is a drinking trip, period. This is a 5-day trip, period. If you want to come for 3 days while we're drinking, fine. But not every trip is meant to be for everyone. But you have to lay out the reasons why for certain people.
Yes, I completely agree. And you shouldn't feel bad about wanting to do a certain type of trip, although there is guilt in leaving your friend out of any sort of thing. But I completely agree with the reasons, and you really need to understand your reasons. Obviously, this person understands their reasons, but to anyone else who wants to plan a trip and just doesn't want a certain friend to come, is it because you just don't really like them? Is it because your tolerance for them is a few hour hangout here and there and you can't travel with them? But I think knowing the reason will help you, one, understand where you stand in a friendship with them and do you want to be friends with them at all? True. And another reason, you have to be compatible with people to travel, and some people just aren't, which is fine, and it doesn't make anyone bad or mean or whatever. It just makes your desires for traveling different. This kind of happened to me. This was so long ago, and I'm not even friends with the people that it happened with anymore, but 2 of my friends went on a trip without me and I wasn't invited. And it really pissed me off, not because they wanted to do a trip together or I don't know, for some reason, 3 people wouldn't work. It was because of the way they went about it. So these 2 friends of mine did not tell me that they planned a trip without me, but rather I found out about it because I think one of my friends had left something at my house and she wanted to take it on the trip with her. So she was like, oh, hey, can I pick up my sweatshirt or something? I can only pick it up like between this time on the weekend or something. And I was like, okay. And then she barely came in the house, like didn't say anything and just like ran back to the car with the sweatshirt or whatever it was. And I was like, okay, that was weird that she didn't want to like hang out and like stay and chat. And they were both just being like really elusive and like not talking to me a lot, like leading up to this like trip, but I didn't know about the trip yet, so I didn't know why. And then I think they were posting photos of it on Instagram. And once it got started, it like wasn't a secret at all. And I saw my friend like wearing the sweatshirt or whatever it was like in the pictures. And I was like, oh, okay. So she wanted to grab the sweatshirt so she could take it on this trip with her, which is okay. But it was the fact that she like told me it was for a different reason and like went beat around the bush. She was like, oh, I need the sweatshirt because like of X, Y, and Z, or like, I don't know. And after they got back, I was like, okay, why wouldn't you just tell me about this? So I asked my friend if I could call her, and I asked her why she like lied about the reason for the sweatshirt and like why she didn't just tell me. I think she said something like they were going to stay with the other girl's aunt in another state. And so they couldn't invite more friends because the aunt offered like, come stay with me and bring one friend. Yeah. And like, I get that, but they were doing like all these other things as well. And I was like, it's the lies of it all. Yeah. First of all, don't lie. Exactly. It's the lies. If they came to me and they were like, or if the friend whose aunt it was, if she came to me and she said, hey, just so you know, my aunt offered me to come and stay with her and bring a friend. This girl and I are going to go for a weekend this month, but if you and I could go another time, like she said, I can always bring a friend or something like that. Like we can plan another trip and
it
stay
doesn't
at her
really
house. Like,
matter what they say. Yeah, it just matters that they are fake.
Well, I also think it's still, like for a lot of friend groups, it would still be upsetting to not be like picked as the friend, like picked as the one friend. So I do think like giving your friend the reason at least and telling them why you picked this other friend, I mean, might make your friend feel better. Like explaining to them, it's like, it's not because I don't like you. It's not because I want to like hide things from you and travel without you. It's just because like we have been talking about this, or like she happened to be with me when my aunt called me and I'm sorry and I don't want to.
Well, no, that's like, what I'm saying. Like it doesn't really matter what they say. Yeah, it matters that there was lies involved, there was deceiving involved, and these were like your best friends at the time. So like just don't be shady, be a real person and be a good friend. Like this is the same thing that the girl was just saying in the story. Like I have all these reasons why I didn't invite her. Like, is it bad that I feel like whatever? You have your reasons, period. We get it. There are reasons. Like, can you still be sad about it? Sure. But there's one thing to be sad about the reasoning, and it's another thing to like be angry about fake friends and like garbage people that are like, oh, well, like, let me just lie and let me just hide it. And let me, like, if you guys are real friends and you're adults, have a conversation.
Yeah,
period.
totally.
I don't know. I've just never had friends in my adult life who behave like that.
Yeah.
All of my friends can hold adult conversations. All of my friends can reach out and say, if that was any of my friends, they would have been like, what's the bad blood or whatever. And they would have been like, I am so sorry I didn't tell you. Here are the reasons. And it just never would have happened that way. It never would have played out. It would have been like, hey, I really need my sweatshirt, not given a lie.
Right.
It just wouldn't have happened. Like, I don't know. I just can't fathom people like that. Be an adult, like have real conversations with your friends.
And another thing is like, I don't know. I would also hope that I would have done this like in that situation. I was like, yeah, I get it if you can't have like endless people and endless friends coming to your aunt's house, but if you and your friends had always like talked about a certain trip or something, and then your aunt was like, I live in France, like come and bring a friend and visit me. Sure. And it's like the 3 of you or the 4 of you have always dreamed of going to France together. And now you're like, you and a friend can come. I would actually hope that I would tell my friends, like, I can stay with my aunt and the 3 of you can get a hotel, or like I can take one of you and we can stay at my aunt's. There's a hotel down the street or like something like that. Or you know what? Let's just all go and just get a hotel so that we can all go together and we'll just see my aunt and not stay there. Like, I don't know, especially if you're not struggling financially and staying or splitting the cost or something isn't like a complete burden. Like if it's you staying with your aunt or you will never go in your life, okay, of course, take that as the like, you know, take that opportunity when you have it. But if it's not going to break the bank to get a cheap hotel so that all of your friends can go, or offer for your friends to get a hotel nearby so that you guys can all still be there together, but explain to them like, my aunt only has 1 bed. Like,
well, I think you could talk in circles for an hour about all the different ways that it could be done. The fact of the matter is, if this is the only option for financial reasons, for whatever reason, timing, anything, if this is the only way it's to be done, be an adult and be straight up with your friends. Is it going to be hard for you to look your friend in the eye and say, I didn't invite you for these reasons? Sure, but you made that decision and now you have to live with it. Period. Like, you're an adult. We're 30 years old, and like obviously you weren't 30 when that happened, but like you're still an adult. I don't know. Like,
no, but I'm just saying, I feel like
have a conversation.
I feel like sometimes it doesn't even cross people's minds to like offer a second solution or like a second, like one of us stays there and 2 of us stay there. Like, it's not like,
not everyone has that frontal lobe. That's
I know, but that's why I'm saying
yeah. But
like,
I'm just saying, like, you and I can come up with all of these conversations and ideas, but I feel like either people get it and they're gonna listen to us and be like, yeah, of course, obviously there are solutions, or people don't get it and they're gonna be like, well, that wasn't an option.
Well, that's why we have a podcast where we tell people what to do.
But I don't know, not every frontal lobe is gonna understand it no matter how many times you say it.
Yeah, like, be honest with your friends and be nice to them. I also think that's what I think that is at the root of all of this, is like, how nice do you want to be to your friend? Because it is way nicer to say something to your friend's face and tell them the honest truth, especially if you care about them, than it is to just lie and deceit and lie by omission and beat around the bush and not tell them your true intentions. But people just, I don't know.
And I'm saying, like, it's one thing to sit them down and look. That's what I was saying earlier. If you look them in the eye and tell them these reasons, they're going to be sad. Yeah. But at least they're not going to be mad at you for being a snake. Yeah. That like lied to them.
Yeah. And like, it annoys me when people think that lying and hiding something from your friend is the nicer thing to do. Mm-hmm. Other than, there are like certain situations where that is the case. Like when I was in 7th grade, my friend went and saw Taylor Swift with her mom. Mm. Her mom said, do not tell anyone, because she didn't want to like rub it in. Great. That's a great time to lie by omission. Yeah. Like, you don't have to rub it in. And there was no other option. Like, nobody could come with her. But like, when you get to the point where you're just making plans with or without your friends, like, you can tell your friends the truth, especially if you actually like them and it's someone you actually want to be friends with in life. Yeah. And if you don't like them and you don't want to be friends with them in life, tell them. Great. This is a great time to just make that clear. And when they call you on the phone and say, hey, why didn't you invite me? Rather than beating around the bush 25 times, you can be like, hey, I think we have just drifted. And I think I've realized that I don't really desire to continue our friendship. Yeah. And that's going to be the hardest thing for both of you. But you can drag your feet and rip off the Band-Aid 27 times, or you can just tell them straight to your face.
You are allowed to break up with someone as a friend.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I've ever done that, because that's really hard. And like, I don't really remember exactly how like this friendship ended, but this this was one of the like cuts, like the death by 1,000
that's
cuts
the
was
beating
like that
around
trip.
the bush thing.
Yeah.
That people just can't hold a conversation. And again, form your frontal lobes, people. Like, go see a doctor or something. I don't know.
Go see a doctor. The next question was planning a group trip and someone who is known to be a problem wants to join. How do I politely exclude them? I feel like we kind of just covered that. Like, be straight up and tell them to their face.
Yeah. If they're known to be a problem for drinking, explain that. If they're known to be a problem for they never pay for their portion, explain that. Whatever they're known to be a problem for, you need to have that conversation.
And maybe it'll be a good like learning lesson for them.
Totally.
If they drink too much and they get blackout all the time and they're a liability and then they're not invited on a trip and they ask why, or you don't want to bring them, you can tell them straight to their face, like, hey, the last few times we've hung out, you have been so crazy with the alcohol and I can't handle it. And maybe that'll be a good wake up call. Yeah. Or maybe it's you snap at people and yell at people in public and I don't want to deal with that when I go to France for the first time. Tell them that.
Yeah, whatever the problem is, you need to tell them.
Yeah.
Period.
My girl group of 7 is planning a trip in July and I'm scared to go. Scared. Can I also say one thing about traveling in general? I feel like this is going to come off wrong, but just hear me out. If there is an option to travel with less people, I think you should do that. It is so much easier, unless you're going to a hotel or a resort for 5 days, 6 nights, like something like that. Sure, anybody can book a hotel room and book their own travel. Like that's a great way to get people together in another country or another place. But if you are going to go backpack around Europe or go to like 6 different towns in a country or anything like that, the less people, the better. Hotel rooms are designed for 2 to 4 people. And honestly, a lot
in
of
Europe,
Airbnb...
it's 2, period.
Yeah. Actually, in Europe, it's 2 or 3. Like, we really struggled with that. Even with 4 people, we were debating kicking Rebecca off the trip. I'm just kidding. But no, we really had to find these very, very specific hotels so that we could get all of us in a room. And even like when we got to Paris, we couldn't. There was like almost 0 options that were within our budget, within all these other things that we needed. And we had to get two rooms anyway. So if you are just on the fence, or if there's like another side quest group of friends or anything, and you're like, oh, I don't really even want to invite them, but I'm going to feel guilty not inviting them. Like, if you don't need them there and you guys haven't dreamed of this trip forever together, like, you don't need to
do it.
You don't need to invite more people. It's so much harder to plan a trip for 5 people than it is to plan for 2
or
3,
you
4.
have to do things in 2s. Like you have to just like 2 of us are in a room, the 2 of us are in this Uber, the 2 of us are on this flight. Like you just have to be like, here's an itinerary. Everyone's got to do it in 2s. You also can't be like, all right, I'm going to collect the money from all 7 people and put 7 people's $2,000 European flights on my credit card, max out your credit card. And then you're like, hey, I charged you on Venmo. Hey, are you going to Venmo me? No, you got to do things in smaller groups or whatever. I mean, I did a bigger group. I think like 10 of us went on a cruise for spring break in college, and everyone had to call the travel agent and give them their credit card information. And they could say it's for me and my roommate, or like, you know, because the cruise is 2 people to a room. Everyone had to do it on their own. Going was fine. You know, the trip was fine because you're on a cruise ship. It wasn't like where we had to make an itinerary and like figure things out for 10 of us. Like that was the perfect 10-person trip. Perfect. But yeah, if you want to do like not vacation, travel, it's so hard with a big group. Yeah. So hard.
Even certain vacations or smaller trips are hard too if people are flaky with the money thing is so annoying. And we've definitely talked about this before, but like the idea of like all of these people saying yes and you're like, hey, this is the place I'm gonna book. Does it look good? And then everyone's like, yeah, that would be great. And then you book it and people are like, well, I don't know if we can still go. And it's like, what?
You committed.
You committed.
I booked it. I know.
You're part of this team. You're staying till the routine is clean. Going forward, I think that if I'm booking stuff, I need to be paid before it's booked. Yeah, honestly.
We have so many people in our lives. I feel like that, and maybe it's not that we have so many. Maybe everyone's like this, but we just book so many trips or excursions or events because we like to be doing things. We book so many things, and this comes up so often.
I know.
Even just with plans, like I'll be like, oh my god, I want to have this party, and everyone will be like, that sounds great, I'm so in. And then you plan it and you send out the invite, and it's like, oh, I can't come.
Yeah, it's actually
well, then
not
why did you say you would be in?
Yeah.
booked it and I booked it and now you can't come.
It's not even trips. You're right. It's little things like making a reservation at a
making
restaurant.
a dinner reservation, getting a movie ticket, planning a party at my house. Like I bought, like I'm not even trying to be dramatic, but say I'm having a party at my house. I have 30 people that are like, we would love to come. I get catering, I get alcohol, I get all this stuff I plan for 30 people. And then 10 people were like, oh, well, I didn't, like, I just said like I could maybe be around that weekend.
It's like, no, you didn't.
No, you said you would be in. And then I sent you the invitation. And then once you saw the RSVP, you didn't want to commit an RSVP.
Yeah. Honestly,
it's everything. People do this with everything. And listen, I will be the first to admit I have commitment issues. Like people, hey, what are you doing this date? I don't know. I work 2 jobs. I'm in grad school. I have a dog that I need a babysitter for. I have a house in another state that I like to spend some time. I don't know what I'll be doing on this date. It's really hard for me to say, but like, I'm not going to say yes to something and then back out. That's what I can tell you.
Yes. The backing out is so annoying. Like people are, actually, I don't know. I was going to say people are flakier and flakier by the year. And I don't know if it's an age thing or if it's just like a generational thing, but I feel like we have come to a point where people are like, live for yourself, like my inner peace, like no one can disturb my peace, to the point where you're such a loser and you don't want to hang out with your friends or be a good friend to anyone.
Yeah.
And that is on you. Like another thing is, I feel like we both try to be good friends and neither of us have kids, and we have a lot going on, but we're like, I'm choosing to live this life right now and I am choosing to like go on these trips and spend my money on these things. Like Erin and I bought a beach house a couple years ago. Like we put our money into that and we saved in many other places. Yeah. Sometimes I feel bad being like, not that I feel bad, but sometimes when we're on the podcast and we're like, just go out with your friends, like do these things. And I don't know. It's just like, we all have the choice. And I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, like they're always, not us, but in general, people are like, oh, well, they're always out and about. Like I'm jealous of that person that's like always out on the town or like traveling, living this life. Like at the same time, they are choosing to flake on their friends and it's like, oh, well, why don't we ever hang out anymore? Like, why don't I ever see you? Like it's been forever. Like, well, that's because the last 10 birthday parties I've had, you didn't come. You RSVP'd yes, and then an hour prior you texted me like, I'm so sorry, it's raining, I can't come. Right. Like you need to leave your house or you are a loser. And if you fall behind on like all these fun things that are happening in life, then that's your fault at a certain point. And
okay, well then, and so also just for the sake of like conversation and seeing both sides here, I will be the first to admit that I am that person because I work 2 jobs and I'm in school. I miss out on a lot of life. I miss out on a lot of events. I miss out on a lot of friendship activities. I miss out on engagements and birthdays and stuff like that. I miss out on it because of travel too. Like I have missed out on friends' parties and celebrations because I'm traveling so much. Like it just happened in the last month. It happened. But again, like you have to pick and choose your lifestyle. And do I feel bad that I'm missing out on all of my friends' things? Of course. I want to be there for them. And then of course I come home from travel and I pick up work to pay for it. And then I miss something else. And like I will be the first to admit that I am one of those people and I miss out on a lot of things, and I know and I am aware that I'm not the best friend because of it. I'm well aware. What I'm saying the problem is when there is nothing going on and you don't want to leave your house and I invited you to this thing that you said you would be in for, and now you RSVP no or maybe, and then you never give me a yes or a no when you say maybe. Like just say yes or no. Like let's be straightforward with each other. And if you say yes, don't be like, hey, my dog threw up this morning.
Yeah, it's like the dumbest excuse.
My dog has diarrhea too.
Yeah, like if you wanted to, literally everyone loves if he wanted to, he would, but so would you.
Yes.
If you wanted to, you would as well. And that's why you sit on your ass inside in your own house all day or all year and you don't go to any of your friends' things. And then it's like, oh my God, we're really such a lonely society. It's your fault. Like, get off your couch and go outside. And like,
and if that's the lifestyle that you want, that's okay. Like, if you're the person
that's not okay, honestly.
No, I think it is. If you don't complain and you're a homebody and you want to stay home and you want to crochet and read and binge watch your show and you're content with that and you're not like, you don't feel that you're missing out on things, that is fine. That is not a problem. If you are happy with that, like that's how I feel in the winter. I am home with my dog and I'm I'm binge watching my shows and I'm working and I'm content. And even my mom has said, like, Erin, you're going to miss out on friendships. People are like not going to talk to you anymore because you prioritize work so much. You're right. Probably I should work on that. But I'm content in the winter months. I don't want to leave the house because I hate the snow. I hate the cold. I hate the rain. I don't feel safe leaving. I don't want to leave the house. So let me be. And I'm happy with that. So I think that's okay for some people.
I think it's okay.
Don't call people a loser for that.
I think it's okay for some people. But then when it gets to the point that every single person is like that, and that's the road that we're going down as a society, then everyone loses their friends and everyone's like, wait, why don't I have friends? And then we all become like homebodies, which are basically not even a homebody. You're just antisocial because you don't want to like push yourself out of your comfort zone for an hour to go hang out with your lifelong best friends because you're prioritizing your own peace. I feel like that's a whole separate problem.
I guess if you're going to make it into a bigger problem that like trickles into society,
it does.
Sure,
it
fine.
is.
But I'm just saying, like, not everyone is like that. And
no, I know.
All I'm saying is it becomes a problem if you do this and then you're like, oh, well, why don't I get invited to Erin and Kelee's beach house anymore? Well, because we invited you 10,000 times and you never came. Or
yes.
Why don't I get invited on the group trip? Well, you were invited on every group trip and we either included you and then you didn't pay, or you came and you caused a problem, or you just never wanted to come.
Yeah, you say no to every single.
If you say no to everything I invite you to from here on out forever, the invitation's gonna fall off eventually. Also, I love to say this about like, this is the extreme of it, obviously. But I always like have this conversation with my mom about weddings. The 100th removed like aunt and uncle that I have not seen since my first Holy Communion, and I won't see them for 30 years by the time my wedding rolls around, and they've been invited to weddings, birthdays, funerals, and not shown up. And it's like, well, you have to invite them to your wedding. Well, do I? Because I'm gonna pay a lot of money for a high-end invitation that I don't want to have to pay to mail to them because they haven't shown up to anything in 30 years. So no, I'm not going to invite them. That's a dramatic comparison. But if I invite you to every single birthday party for 30 years and every single Christmas party and every single Memorial Day picnic and you never, ever, 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 ever show up, eventually I'm not going to send the text.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's going to happen. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, why don't I see you anymore? Well, because you either chose all of your other friends the entire time, which is fine if you have a different friend group and you want to do that, or you want to stay home. And you want to stay home. If you want to stay home, why am I going to invite you to my beach house?
No, that's a great point. First of all, normalize not inviting people you never speak to your wedding just because they're your great aunt. Like, okay. To the other point, yes, I feel like, and this is especially true with traveling and like group trips, even if they're small group trips to like the shore for the weekend or something, you can only say no to plans with your friends so many times before they stop inviting you. And I get that it can be kind for somebody to just like invite them, even if you know they're not going to come, just like throw the invite out there. First of all, I'm not going to keep wasting my time.
That's it. Like, stop throwing the invite ain't cheap, honey.
Yes.
I'm not going to keep throwing it out there.
Yeah, because then another thing happens too when you keep inviting people is they keep giving you these answers, even though you know for a fact they're going to flake because they've flaked 100% of the time so far on every single one of these, like, let's get away for the weekend, to the point where you're like, they say maybe. So you're like, well, they said maybe. Are they going to break their streak this time? So you start looking for a house for 10 people instead of 9, and you're stressing about it. And you're like, all the 10 people houses are gone. Like, I don't know. But then 3 of them flake anyway. And you're like, well, if I never invited them, I would have just looked for the 7-person house all along.
And it's also even something as simple as like, okay, you're talking on a trip and planning. Like, let's downscale to a regular weekend at the beach house. We have so many beds in our house. Memorial Day weekend. How many people do we want to invite? Oh, all these people. Oh, I would love to come. Then they either flake or they only show up for Friday into Saturday, or they only come for like whatever night, and then, oh, I'm just going to stay for the day. I'm not going to stay the night. Well, I'm sorry I reserved a bed for you then and didn't invite someone who actually wanted to come and hang out with me.
Yeah.
Because I save beds and couches or whatever places for people to sleep. I don't invite other people because you said yes.
Yeah, and that's
the problem.
It's very similar when you're just making normal plans on a Friday night. Yes. And you're like, okay, well, I will not make plans on this Friday because I know I'm hanging out with this person.
Right.
And then they flake, and it's like, well, now I have nothing going on. And everyone's so mad when like a first date or something or a guy flakes on you, but like you're doing it to your friends, but just in a different font.
Yeah.
And it's just as annoying. And it's just as rude. And it happens all the time. And another thing I was going to say, for all the times that you say no to your friends' hangout invitations, whether they're just let's hang out on a Friday night or a party or a social gathering or a trip where you are actually traveling somewhere, you need to say yes somewhere in there. Like you need to get out of your comfort zone on number 5 and number 8 in order to keep getting to invite number 12, because I'm not going to invite someone to something 12 times in a row, even if they're my friend, if they say no and or they flake on me every single time. Like I'm cutting it at a certain point. I guess it depends on the person, what my number of I'm cutting you off and I'm not sending the invite anymore is. But you need to realize, like, as a social person, in order to maintain friendships, you have to put in work to maintain friendships. And I'm so sorry that the work is getting off your couch and having dinner with your friend. Like, really, you have to put in so much work to be. Relationships are hard. Friendships are hard. Like, yeah, it's so hard to go out and eat dinner with your friend or go watch a movie with your friend.
It can be for some people. Like, and it can be, do not poo-poo that it is hard for some people.
I completely get it that it's hard for some people, and everyone can make the case and be like, well, I'm not neurotypical, or like I have X, Y, and Z clinical problem, or I am blah, blah, blah. I don't have money. I completely understand. We can pick and choose these like nitpicky things where these anecdotal things are happening where, yes, it is hard for you to go out. Neurotypical people that aren't struggling for money, that are just honestly lazy, those are the people that I'm talking to, that it's like you need to put an effort to be friends with people or they're not going to want to be friends with you anymore. Like, those are the people that I'm talking to. So anyway. Sorry to anybody else. I completely get it. Like, obviously, if you're sick or like whatever else is going on. Okay.
To get back on topic, you got to be a friend to get invited on friends trips.
Yeah. Okay. Should we keep going?
Yes, let's do another one.
How to uninvite friends from a group trip because we don't want them to bring their kids. This has never happened to me, but I'm curious. This exact situation.
Yeah, this has never happened to me either, but I think you just have to put out there the same thing as a wedding. We kindly request no children at our wedding. Like, you just have to say, like, hey, we really want to do an adults only trip. It's not that we don't want to include you, but would you be willing to go without your kids? And if not, this is just going to be an adult trip, period.
Yeah.
You have to have hard conversations with your friends.
I think that this is kind of the same situation as the uninviting certain people. Like, if you plan a trip, and this also goes back to another episode that we did where there was a situation where we read a story, they planned a girls trip, and then certain people were like, should we bring boyfriends? You just need to be real with your friends and yourself. When you plan a specific type of trip and then other characters become involved, it changes the whole vibe of the trip. So rather than it being a girls trip or a friends reunion trip, it's now a family, extended family vacation, and it's a completely different vibe. And I think just being very straight up about that and telling people to their face, like, use this stupid corny line that people use on their wedding websites when they're like, FAQs, are kids invited? We want you to let loose, so get a babysitter for the night. Yeah. You don't say yes or no. You just say, like, we want you to be able to have fun, so leave the kiddos at home.
No, I think you can just plan the adults only trip at this, like, whatever type of itinerary you want, and then present it to them and be like, hey, we're planning an adults only trip. Not sure if you'd want to go away without your kids for a week, but here's the invitation. If you're a kids only, if you travel with your kids only type of family, no worries if you can't make it.
Yeah.
Put it out there like the way it is. That one doesn't seem as hard, but maybe that's just because I'm a bitch and I'll just put it out there that you can't bring your kids. But I think you can make it very flat known. If you don't want them to come for a reason other than the kids, that's a different conversation. But if it is strictly, we don't want you to bring your kids on this trip, but you would like to invite them, it is very simple to say that.
Yeah.
This is an adults only, no kids trip. Would you be interested? If not, no worries. We'll catch you on the next one.
What if they say, yes, we can come, and then at the last minute, they're like, oh, guys, we're also going to bring our kids along.
Okay, then that's when, okay, so maybe I'm the bitch or I'm the straightforward friend. I don't know. I would be like, hey, just like to make this clear, like, we really did want this to be an adults only trip. If you guys really want to bring the kids, we get it. But like, we're just like, I don't want to be mean, but like, maybe we're not gonna plan our itinerary around your kids or your kids' dinner time or your kids wanting to do, I don't want to go on a boat snorkeling trip with kids that day. Like, we wanted to do this adults only. Would you mind not bringing the kids around for these activities? Because we planned this to be an adults only trip. Agreed. You have to be straightforward with your friends. I think you're allowed to say that. If you plan an adults only, That would be like saying we planned a girls trip. Well, can I bring my boyfriend? Well, we all want just the girls on the boat this day. Like if you absolutely are going to bring your boyfriend on this trip no matter what, you have to leave him in the crate for a couple of hours. Like you have to do it. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You have to be straightforward with your friends.
I agree. And also the only way to get what you want is to tell people what you want.
Yes.
So I feel like sometimes we get annoyed with our friends or mad or frustrated when people can't read our minds. And it's like, if only you just told the person that you're friends with, that you're lifelong friends with, that this is what your desires are, and ask them their desires. It's really very simple. I do feel like that trend of like rejection therapy on TikTok is like a good example. Like people go and they try to experience rejection therapy. So they ask people in public like crazy requests that they think they're going to say no to because they want to get used to being rejected and feeling okay with it.
This is wild that people have to do this.
But most of the time, they actually end up saying yes. So like one of the recent ones I saw was a guy, he's getting on a plane and he's like, hey, can I go in the cockpit? I've never been in one. And he was expecting them to just say no, but they're like, sure. And he goes in and gets a full tour of the cockpit. And he's like, whoa, like you only get things if you ask for them. Like they're not going to let every person on the plane and be like, do you want to also take a look? You guys, all 205 of you, like, no, ask people things and tell people what you want, and you have a way better chance of actually getting it.
Interesting. I don't have TikTok, so I didn't know this was a trend. It's a little sad that people really got to work on rejection that much, and it's not even semi-formed into your brain. Like, did your parents say yes to everything to you your entire life growing up to the point where you can't accept a no, that you have to get yourself therapy for?
I don't know.
What do I know? Anyway,
I don't know. My friends want to go on a trip, but last time was a disaster. Last time we went, it was a really shitty experience, but I don't want to spend all summer at home, so I really don't know what to do. I need help. We're a total of 5 in the group. One of the girls has a family apartment, so last time we went there and are planning to go there again since it's basically free. However, I fear our group isn't strong enough to endure another bad trip. This is like the trip made it out of the group chat, but is the group chat making it out of the trip?
Yeah. I feel like you got to have the conversation. If it was really that bad last time, you got to be like, hey guys, like, can we be for real for a second? Last time all these horrible things happened and I fear that this could be bad for our friendship. Let's talk about it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Again, with the like, you just got to have these conversations. Like,
I know.
Say our 4 girls to Europe trip that we did last summer, say that had gone horribly and we came home and we were like, all right, we can never travel again. But then like 2 or 3 years later, we're like, guys, we really want to we have to be like, okay, but let's talk about the problems we had last time.
Yeah.
You have to have these conversations with your friends if you really want to do something like that. It's not that, I don't know. For me, it's not that hard to have a conversation or be like, hey guys, remember when this happened last time and like shit hit the fan? Maybe we got to think about this before we do this again.
Yeah.
And drive separate so you can leave if you need to leave.
True, especially because you're not paying for it. It's like a family house.
Drive separate if you can.
Let's see what else they said. I've noticed that we are all very difficult, and at least they're self-aware. And I don't know if this makes it difficult for us to travel, so I need a second opinion. We are a total of 5. Maru is extroverted, fast-paced, messy, and doesn't mind mess, so doesn't often clean up because she really doesn't care. Sometimes gets easily irritated and will badmouth. Eliza is easygoing, easily convinced, so almost always goes along with plans. Since she is easily convinced and close with Maru, will hop on bad-mouthing. Frankie is extro and intro. She is social but needs some space every now and then and is a clean freak, so it clashes with Maru. Likes to cook, but sometimes feels overwhelmed when she takes up the cooking. Finally, Riley is an introvert, can be really fun when her social battery wears down, is moody and rude and not fun to be around. She is not a clean freak, but since it's her apartment, she gets angry when not clean. Yeah, I think you need to set, if it's going to work, you need to set clear expectations. And the cooking thing reminds me of our trip to France, actually. And I said this when we got back and kind of like halfway through, but basically I booked a lot of the trip. I did a lot of like geographical research to figure out like which route would be best. And I just spent a lot of the time like booking the hotels and stuff. And then when we got there, I just happened to be the one like booking the Uber. And then it kind of got to the point where we would like walk outside of a hotel and like nobody would take their phone out except me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, like I don't also want to like run this while we're here. Like I already put in like so much of the planning and the itinerary and like what day we're doing what. Like I don't want to be the only one that's like willing to take out their phone and book the Uber. And it's not even that I was paying for it. Like we were splitting everything, but
it's just that you have to do everything and everyone just waits and expects you to do it.
Yeah, but it's like that expectation was almost like already formed.
Where's Kelly going to take us now?
Yeah, because like I did so much of like I did so much of the prep that it was like, oh, well, you just keep doing it. So like I kind of accidentally set that expectation myself. And then I had to be like, okay, can someone else get the Uber? Because like I don't feel like doing it and worrying about it every single time.
And you're like literally your phone battery's going to die. We were taking like 6 Ubers a day. Like your phone battery's going to die. Someone else needs to like do something at some point.
Yeah. And then by the end, I think we're splitting it. But yeah, I feel like that's a good example, like with the cooking. If you're like, hey, I love cooking, but I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be comfortable cooking every single meal every day of this trip with no help.
Again, you got to lay that out. Okay, these 2 nights we're going to get dinner. This one night she wants to cook for the group and we'll do the cleanup. Like we can't and I know some of us are more like type A and some of us don't really care if we let the dishes pile up. Like we've really got to meet somewhere in the middle. These are conversations that can be had.
Yeah.
You know?
And with the cleaning thing, if the person whose home it is likes being clean, you all just gotta
to respect that.
Like
period.
That's their family home and that's their home's vibe. Like you gotta adhere to that. And that's the only option for that.
Absolutely.
So if you can't adhere to that, you're out. You're gone. And tell her that before she goes in. It doesn't matter if she doesn't mind mess. Like you're in someone else's house and you have to respect what they choose. Now, if it's the person that is owning the home that doesn't care about the mess and is the messy one, and you just love to be clean, but you're staying in their house, your 2 options are don't go or suck it up while you're there, while you're staying there for free.
Yeah.
So just be realistic about these expectations going in and tell your friends. And it kind of seems like all these different travel preferences that everyone has.
Doesn't seem that hard.
Well, it seems like you just didn't know about any of this stuff the first time. And then when you traveled with them, you were like, oh, so she likes being clean. She doesn't care about being clean.
Yes.
She likes cooking but doesn't want to do all the work. And this is the first time we're learning about this about each other. And now let's act on it going forward.
Now we know,
Yeah, but I think some people aren't able to put 2 and 2 together.
2 plus 2 is 4. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We're planning the next trip. No. And also, side note from the person who owns the vacation home, who is type A and needs everything to be clean. I have dealt with this with so many friends. This is, even some of our closest of close friends have made comments to like kind of put me in my place when I'm like being crazy about like the beach sand on the floor, because I very much try to keep this house like spotless. And even some of our closest friends have been like, all right, Erin, well, there's going to be sand on the floor in a beach house. And I'm like, okay, I get that sometimes you do have to put your friends in their places. And maybe there are times that I need to hear that from our friends. But at the same time, like, if I'm upset that there's sand on the floor, wipe your feet off before you go into the house. Don't be like, Erin, there's going to be sand on the floor. You just have to respect people's boundaries in their environments.
I do. Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Like coming for whoever's house this is, like the host, like one, you have to respect the host, but also as a host, you have to also understand that even if my friends like do their best to respect what I ask of them, hosting comes with certain things and you need to accept that, or you just don't, like, you don't have to accept it, but then you don't have to host. Right. So you need to understand that when people come into your house and you're choosing to invite them and have them there, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to get messy. Even if you love a spotless house, humans are messy. Something's going to spill and you have to be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, that's fine. Don't invite them over.
Right. Well, here, so let me clarify like my type A mind. And I think like I don't know why I use the term type A. I think that's like a nursing thing. People say nurses are type A. Maybe I am.
Everyone uses that phrase.
No, but I feel like people say that about like in my world, people are like, oh, well, of course you're type A. You're a nurse. Like I just hear it all the time.
Okay.
Whatever. Who cares? I think there's a difference between like as a host expecting things to happen and then also people giving pushback when it's like not necessarily appropriate. Like, okay, for example, we had a huge like Friendsgiving one year and we were all like, half of us had to sit on the couch and half of us had to sit in chairs. And everyone was like, oh, do you really want, like, we'll just say Rebecca, to not call any certain friends. Oh, do you really want Rebecca to sit on the couch with a red wine glass in her hand? Maybe she should sit in a chair. And we were like, oh, haha, good point. Like rearrange the seating. Later in the night, Rebecca still spills her beer on the couch and everyone's like, oh no, I get it. People are going to spill. Like, that's not where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from when I say like, oh, there's sand all over the floor is like maybe this isn't common sense to the world, but to people from our area and especially our friends, it is common sense that when you come back to your beach house after going to the beach, you rinse the sand off your feet with the hose outside. Mm-hmm. Everyone does it. people do. You do it at your house, you do it at your parents' house, you do it at your cousin's friend's rented house. Like, you just rinse the sand off your feet before you go into the house. People will just come into our house and not do it. And I'll be like, did everyone rinse their feet off? And they'll be like in the kitchen and they'll be like, oh shoot, I forgot. And I'll be like, oh, well, would you mind going to do it? And if by like day 4, I'm like, why is there sand all over the floor? And people are like, well, it's a beach house. I get there's going to be sand on the floor. All I'm saying is rinse your feet off before you come in the house, or take your shoes off or whatever. Like, that's where it's like, you got to pick and choose your pushback. If you're staying at the type A person's house and you're the person who lets dishes pile up and she's like, okay, the pile of dishes is bothering me, and you're like, okay, well, people are going to eat dinner and use dishes.
Yeah.
Don't be that person. Clean them up. Just pick and choose where you're going to give the pushback. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying if like she's like, oh my God, like, okay, maybe like don't eat dinner right there, and then maybe like, oh my God, you bit and like I saw some of the cracker, like go. I'm not that kind of person. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you got to pick and choose your battles with type A people in their own houses. Like, you got to respect their boundaries. Like, yes, accidents happen and like people spill beer on the couch. I get it. We're in our 20s and 30s, like we're living our lives. But there are things that you have to respect.
Yeah, I also think like as a guest, like when we are in our 20s and you go over to someone's house, like it's not a mansion in the Hamptons. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, it's matter.
An apartment.
Like, people are like, I just feel like I've noticed that the younger you are, the more likely others are to treat your house like it's some like motel that or a college dorm or a motel room that you don't care about. Not saying you should ever treat anyone's property like that, but it's almost like that. I was going to compare it to a literature, but whatever. So like people act how they think they should act in that setting. Like you wouldn't go into Kim Kardashian's house in the Hamptons and act this way. Right. So why are you doing it to your friend? Just because you don't respect them? Yeah. Or because you feel that their house isn't nice enough to like want to take care of or something?
Well, I think it's also, it very much is like in college, you like have the classic landlord special where there's like paint splattered on the floor and like everyone looks at it and you're like, we can't keep this house clean if it was clean when we walked in the door. Like this house will never be more. If I truck mud in here, it'll still be cleaner than when I showed up. Like, I get it. But yeah, like Kelee and I bought our vacation house at a very young age before friends bought vacation houses. But a lot of friends' parents had vacation houses. So I think a lot of people were like, oh, well, this isn't Erin and Kelly's mom's house that we have to respect. This is our friend's house in our 20s. And it's like, no, I still bought this house and put up the wallpaper and scraped the floors and like, you still got to respect it.
Yes. And respect anywhere. It just annoys me when people are like going and traveling and like staying in other people's houses. And even if it's an Airbnb, even if you're paying to stay there.
Yeah. Like in a hotel.
Yeah. And if your friend is letting you stay there for free, like especially like these people, your options are pay to go on a vacation and have your ideal setting. You can pay to stay wherever you want to pay, or go and stay for free. Like if you're staying for free, this person's family, parents are letting you stay at their condo for free, you got to adhere to their rules.
Yes.
Like, doesn't matter what you think or what you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or cut them a check and then act how you want to act.
There you go. I'll let the dishes pile up, but I'll cut you a check for the cleaner to come in and do the dishes.
Right.
Fine.
Okay. What a whirlwind.
Yeah. Anyway, moral of the story, you get what you give in your friendships.
Yes.
And if you want to be invited on the group trips, you got to A, behave yourself, B, pay your dues, and C, say yes once a year.
Literally, once a year. It's all it takes sometimes.
Yes. It's all it takes.
Push yourself out of your comfort zone to clean up after yourself, be respectful of your host, and hang out with your friends.
Yes. Do it. Okay. You can do it. That's what we're doing in 2020, summer of 25.
Thank you so much for listening to our episode. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.